speaker is Miss Angela Ritchey. Imagine yourself in a group around a campfire as this story unfolds. Have you ever had an experience where you felt like life was imitating art? Angela will be sharing one of her experiences from childhood where life imitated art with things that go bump in the night.
That is what some people can say is a thing that goes bump in the night. It can be a strange or frightening thing or a noise that you can either explain later on or you just never know what it is. I had one of those experiences where there was strange, odd things happening. For those that don't know me, I have 14 brothers and sisters, and yes, I said 14. Imagine many decades ago, back when technology had not evolved to where it is right now, where there are tons of devices that you can watch entertainment on or devices that you can carry around with you anywhere. I was 8 years old, and I had the very rare privilege of, out of the 2 TVs in my parents' house, to find one unoccupied. I was completely enthralled. I said, yes, I finally get to watch something that I want to watch. I quickly grabbed the remote before any of my brothers and sisters discovered what was going on and started flipping through what very few channels were available at the time. I quickly found something I was looking for, a horror movie, because my parents would always take the TV guide and mark anything that wasn't rated G as a do not watch. So therefore, as an 8-year-old, what do you want to do? Watch something that you are not allowed to watch at all. So I sat there watching, and like any horror film, it goes very innocuous. Nothing's going on. And all of a sudden, it starts to get spookier and spookier and spookier. In this particular movie, it was a werewolf. And the werewolf, you could hear it howling out of nowhere. And then townsfolk were starting to get a little scared because they were hearing stories about people that all of a sudden disappeared. It was about the time when it was really starting to get spooky. Then all of a sudden I hear this odd noise of click, click, click in the background. And having 14 brothers and sisters, my very first reaction was they finally caught on to what I was doing. One of them is trying to scare the living daylights out of me. So I looked around, one shoulder, the other shoulder, no one there. Went back to watching, thinking, now they're playing games with me. A minute later, I hear that strange noise again. Click, 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 and it's getting a little bit closer. I started getting a little nervous because the noise sounded like it really was nails on cement. And I looked around again. There, nothing. Went back to watching. A minute later, I hear this click, click, click again. I was getting pretty frightened. For me, I was sitting in this one big chair, staring up at a TV, and the room behind me, and on the family room, was our laundry room that had this cement floor, and the door led to the outside. And as I looked around, I saw these big, glowing red eyes out of nowhere, slowly starting to get closer and closer. I was completely petrified for these eyes as they got closer and closer. There was nothing around them, so I knew it was not one of my brothers and sisters pranking me. Being 8 years old, I thought, oh my God, there is a werewolf in this house. I was completely petrified. I sunk down into this chair, all scared, thinking maybe if I just shrink enough and throw this blanket over my face, it won't find me. Another few seconds again. Click, click, click until it's right behind me. I sat there completely scared, wanted to scream, but I just couldn't get that scream out of me. And right as I was about ready to see if I could shrink any further into my chair, those eyes come next to me. I sat there, looked over, totally frightened, discover that it was my dog that had gotten into the house. The relief washed over me. I was so grateful because up until that point, I thought, I'm going to be eaten alive like one of those town folks, never to be seen again. And to see my dog there, all furry, with her eyes just staring at me going, Mom, what's wrong? Because my dog is often my favorite pet. I was relieved. I gave her a little scratch in the head, went back to watching TV show. Still a little trepid because I thought, there might be a werewolf. But fortunately, this time the thing that went bump that night was just my dog. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Game over.